In the final years of the 21st century, humanity stood on the edge of extinction. Tensions between the world's major powers had reached a breaking point. Economic collapse, resource shortages, and decades of political hostility had pushed nations into a conflict unlike anything in human history. The media called it World War III. Historians would later call it humanity's final mistake. The war began with conventional weapons. Within days, entire cities were burning. Military satellites fell from orbit. Power grids collapsed. Millions fled from regions that no longer existed on maps. As governments lost control, military leaders searched desperately for a way to end the conflict before civilization itself disappeared. That search led to a project hidden from the public for decades, a project known only by its codename, HELIOS. Officially, HELIOS did not exist. Its funding was buried beneath hundreds of classified programs. Its scientists lived in isolated facilities. Its research was protected by the highest levels of military secrecy. To the few people who knew about it, HELIOS was humanity's last hope, or its final warning. The weapon was unlike anything ever created. It was not designed merely to destroy. It was designed to manipulate energy on a scale never before attempted. The scientists behind HELIOS believed they had discovered something extraordinary, a method of reaching beyond conventional physics, a force hidden beneath reality itself. Their calculations promised unlimited power, their simulations predicted victory. Their confidence blinded them to the possibility that they were opening a door they could not control. On the 18th day of World War III, the decision was made. HELIOS would be activated. Deep beneath Antarctica, inside a classified installation known as Vault Erebus, 100 individuals were gathered. They believed they had been selected because they represented humanity's best chance of survival. Scientists, engineers, military personnel, children, families. The chosen 100 entered the vault believing they were being protected from the coming disaster. None of them knew the truth. They had not been selected to survive. They had been selected to be studied. The doors of Vault Erebus sealed shut. Thousands of kilometers away, the HELIOS reactor came online. Around the world, military leaders watched from command centers. Scientists monitored the growing energy levels. The countdown reached 0. Then something impossible happened. There was no explosion, no shockwave, no flash of light. For a single moment, the entire planet fell silent. Communication systems stopped transmitting. Military satellites ceased responding. Air traffic vanished from radar. Every digital network on Earth died simultaneously. For 6 seconds, humanity entered complete silence. Then the screams began. Within hours, entire regions went dark. Cities stopped responding. Hospitals lost contact with neighboring facilities. Governments disappeared. Military command structures collapsed. No one understood what HELIOS had done, only that something had gone horribly wrong. 3 hours later, billions were dead. Days later, civilization ceased to function. The survivors inside Vault Erebus watched helplessly as the world ended through flickering security feeds. One by one, those feeds disappeared, until only darkness remained. The years that followed became known as the Ash Veil. The sky changed. Massive storms covered the planet. Grey ash drifted endlessly through the atmosphere. Sunlight became rare. Entire ecosystems vanished. Humanity became a memory. Inside Vault Erebus, life continued. The survivors built routines. Children became adults. Scientists grew old. New generations were born underground. For 34 years, the vault remained sealed. For 34 years, nobody stepped outside. The surface had become a myth. a dead world remembered only through stories. Then the knocking started. It began without warning. A single metallic impact echoed through the outer structure of the vault. Most people ignored it. The second knock came 13 minutes later, then another, and another, always 13 minutes apart. Always 3 knocks. No one could explain it. Engineers searched the exterior sensors. Nothing appeared. Security teams inspected every system. No damage was found. Yet the knocking continued, day and night, without interruption. The sound spread fear throughout the vault. People stopped sleeping. Rumors spread through the corridors. Some believed survivors existed outside. Others believed something had found them. After 6 hours, the knocking suddenly stopped. The silence felt even worse. Then every speaker inside Vault Erebus activated simultaneously. A burst of static flooded the corridors. Children covered their ears. Engineers rushed toward control stations. The speakers should have been disconnected. Several had not functioned for decades, yet all of them were active. A strange signal filled the vault. At first, it sounded like noise, random frequencies, distorted tones, impossible patterns. Scientists spent days attempting to decode it. Every known language database failed. Every translation system returned errors. The signal did not belong to any human language. Still, it repeated every 13 minutes, exactly like the knocking. As the days passed, researchers noticed something strange. Certain patterns appeared repeatedly. Fragments of meaning began emerging from the chaos. Weeks later, they translated their first complete phrase. The message contained only 3 words. Open the door. Panic spread through Vault Erebus. Many demanded the vault remain sealed forever. Others argued that whatever was outside already knew their location. The debate lasted months. Eventually, a decision was made. A small expedition would leave the vault. For the first time in 34 years, humanity would return to the surface. The massive vault doors opened slowly. Ancient mechanisms groaned to life. Frozen air rushed into the facility. The survivors stood in silence as daylight entered the vault for the first time in a generation. The world beyond was not what they expected. Earth was still alive, but it had changed. Ash drifted endlessly from a dark sky. Entire mountain ranges had been altered. Cities stood abandoned beneath layers of snow and dust. Roads disappeared beneath decades of ruin. No birds sang, no animals moved. The planet felt empty, as if something had erased life itself. The expedition traveled across the frozen wasteland. Hours later, they reached the outskirts of a ruined city. That was where they found the footprints. At first, they thought the marks belonged to machinery. The impressions were enormous, several meters across, far larger than any human could create. Then they discovered something impossible. The footprints were fresh. Snow had not yet filled them. Ash had not yet covered them. Whatever created them had passed through recently. The realization changed everything. Humanity was not alone. The expedition followed the trail. It led away from the city, toward the distant horizon, toward something hidden beyond the storms. As night approached, one member of the team looked back toward the skyline and saw a silhouette standing atop a ruined skyscraper, watching, motionless, far too tall to be human. The figure disappeared seconds later. The expedition returned to Vault Erebus with their discovery. But the questions remained. Who sent the signal? What caused HELIOS to fail? What created the footprints, and most importantly, what was waiting for humanity beyond the ash veil? To be continued.